Now, for intermediate stretches, you'll take the Corestretch from a seated position to a standing position. The standing position can be utilized freestanding or with the back up against a wall for additional support. For first-time use in a standing position, we recommend leaning up against the wall. From a standing position, we want the Corestretch right at the belt line. Also, it should be noted that usually the general setting used with a seated position should be used in the standing position, although you may have to elongate it by one setting to counter the effect of the hips rotating back. To start, hold the Corestretch against the hips with one hand, let the hips come back a little bit, and reach out and grab the handle in the standard fashion. At this point, leave your legs bent, which will stretch from the waist upward. In a standing position, you'll notice it's a lot easier to take advantage of the rotation swivel axis of the Corestretch to really emphasize various muscles to the left and the right side. Now you're going to implement the other grips that we talked about with the sitting position. First, you are going to do a crossover grip, which is a good way to address the muscles in the mid-back, the rhomboids and the teres muscles. You put your right hand on the left handle and your left hand on the right handle. That spreads the shoulder blades, and it's going to allow for the muscles in between the shoulder blades to get stretched. Once again, you can also rotate or swivel to emphasize one side or the other. The other stretch to emphasize the upper back muscles is to do an underhand grip using the same approach we covered in the beginner stretches. Once again, this is going to specifically target more of the lat and lateral scapula muscles in the upper back. Be sure to come down slowly and rotate to target specific areas. To finish with the intermediate exercises, you're going to perform the stretches keeping your legs straight. A nice thing about the Corestretch is that you can actually get a good functional stretch from a standing position. So on the golf course or in a situation where you cannot get on the ground or in a chair to stretch, it's a nice opportunity to stretch from a standing position. Now in the standing position, you're going to leave the legs straight, bringing the calves and hamstrings into play. You can spread your legs out a little bit to increase your base of support. You're going to use a standard grip, come down, stretch, and leave the legs straight as possible so that the emphasis will be on the hamstrings and calves. Now we're going to go on to some advanced stretches. This is considered an advanced position because you are doing these stretches from a position that puts additional tension on the muscles you are stretching and allows for a greater stretch. One of the biggest reasons people have limited flexibility in their hamstrings and their shins is because in order to stretch them effectively, they must get in somewhat uncomfortable positions. You want to be able to sit down on the floor with your feet out in front of you and have your back at a 90-degree angle. As far as the length of the Corestretch in the standing position, we may have gone one longer. In a floor-seated position, it may be necessary to go one shorter. You are going to leave it at the setting you had for the intermediate stretches. But if you had limited flexibility, you may want to decrease that setting down one. This straight position is going to really emphasize the calves and hamstrings on up through the upper back and the mid-back. Using a standard grip, lean forward, keeping your legs straight and your toes generally pointed up towards the ceiling. In this position with your legs narrow, it becomes a little awkward to try to rotate. However, you can rotate to some degree. We are going to move on to an advanced lat stretch where you take one hand and cross over to the other handle and lean to the extreme right or to the extreme left, stabilizing with your other arm. This is important to maintain proper balance. If you lean left, it's going to stretch the right lat and vice versa. This is considered an advanced lat stretch and stretches that upper and lower latissimus muscle. There are a couple of other stretches we can do from the advanced position to target some of the lower leg muscles involved with the calves. From an advanced position, widen the legs out and rotate your feet inward or medially. As you stretch, you're going to feel it in the lateral or outside component of the lower leg. This is very good for joggers, runners, and athletes in general to help promote flexibility and injury prevention in the lower leg. To stretch the inner thigh and down toward the calves, do the opposite and rotate your feet outwards, and you'll feel more intensity in the hamstrings and the inner part of the calves. With this position, you can promote rotational flexibility. As you lean down to the left side, it's going to emphasize the left. In general, if you want to promote hamstring flexibility in the inner groin, which is often a difficult muscle group to stretch, you just widen your legs as much as possible. As you come straight down, you can really start to feel the emphasis in your groin. You can do it unilaterally, emphasizing one side or the other, or bilaterally down the center to stretch both sides. What you're probably finding in this position is that you don't have as much assistance from gravity, so it takes more effort. However, it offers more tension and therefore a deeper stretch. Finally, we would like to encourage you to stick to the stretches as we've reviewed in the video, at least until you get a good comfort level using the product over a period of a few weeks, so that all the muscles you are conditioning have time to adjust. Once you get acquainted with the product and have given your core muscles time to adjust, you may find additional stretches that are useful. Thank you for purchasing Corestretch. We are confident you will find this to be the most effective and easy to use back stretching product available. We encourage you to visit our website online, www.Medi-Dyne.com, or give us a call, 817-251-8660, and consider some of our other stretching products and accessories. Again, thank you for purchasing Corestretch.